All right, Mark Mojave and Rob Esche in studio. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
So let's talk about the news today is that No Hospital Downtown, one of the co-founders, Brett Truitt, is buying up property in order to force this to go into a lawsuit, force it to go into potentially eminent domain. Mark, you're an economic development guy, formerly with the city of Utica. What are your thoughts?
Nice to see the hospital project is already sparking investment in downtown.
Okay.
Just not quite that location.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I respect his right to not agree. I'm okay with that. I don't agree with his perspective or his tactics, but I respect his right to disagree.
They're all in. They are all in. Rob Esche, you have a development going on down there right now. Actually, quite a lot going on right now. Between a restaurant being built, the Tartan building is basically all down now, right?
Yeah, it's come a long way. It's been fast track for the last 5 years. We've made significant improvements to the audit, as you know. And I think the lightning rod for everything was the civic pride and the positive attitude of being willing to work with everybody and move projects forward. And it took a while to get through the Tartan, kind of purchase agreement. Yeah, that's in place now. But everything's worked out terrific, and we're very fortunate to be moving forward.
Mark, I again, you worked for the city in economic development. Did you ever think that you were going to see a transformation of downtown the way we're seeing this happen right now?
One hopes, works, has plans, but I never, truthfully, I never imagined that I would see what's going on right now. We've seen more than 50 years of non-investment, of disinvestment. I never imagined this. This is really beyond my wildest dreams.
You are the owner of Gerber's, which you've done an incredible job of really bringing that building back to what it was. So a lot of the fixtures and the elements of that place you restored. It's really a beautiful facility. You're for the hospital going downtown. I'm told there's been some intimidation.
There's been some effort at it. I think most recently the No Hospital Downtown group had a short while ago had put something on social media telling people to boycott my business, to put me out of business and use it as an example to others who would oppose them. It's just plain bullying is what it is. It's not good for the community. It's not something one likes to see in a community undergoing a sea change. Yeah. I mean, this is really transformational what's going on, and I get that not everybody's going to be happy.
It's funny because I had heard people going back and forth with the No Hospital Downtown group talking about, well, the only thing you're in this for is keep in mind. On one hand, we're being told that it is going to destroy downtown. And then
this is the contradiction.
This is the contradiction that I can't get past. And then they say, well, of course, Mojave's in on this whole thing because his property value is going to go up. All he wants to do is make money. Wait a minute. You just told us that this is going to destroy the value of downtown. Right. Which is it?
Yeah. Can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
Really. I've seen over the last several years, the conventional wisdom is that the hospital's coming downtown, whether you agree with it or disagree.
Right.
And yet we've seen buildings that have sat vacant for decades, that have been bought up, are being renovated, restored, leased up back on the market. So we've seen what 50 years of no investment has done for Utica. So,
and this is just the thought that the hospital is coming downtown.
Right.
Rob, I remember when this was first getting started, and we had the big conversation of, you and I would talk every once in a while, and I'm always good with the rumor mill, and I'm like, well, the word is, Rob, we can't support two hockey teams. It's never going to work. We tried it with the Devils. This ain't going to work. We're on what number? You don't even keep track anymore, the number of sellouts anymore.
It's over 120.
Over 120. I mean, sometimes you just got to pinch yourself and say, wow, this is real. This is really happening.
It is, and I did confide you a lot 5 years ago before we started up the team. Whether it was with Utica College and the rumor mill, sometimes makes a lot of sense. I think as we've learned, though, if I listened to everybody that said it was going to be horrible, and what are you thinking? What are you doing? Investing money into downtown Utica? Obviously I wouldn't have done it, and I was nervous as I went through that process, but it turned out great, and I think. Change is really the only thing that creates progress. And, I know it's unfortunate for some if they don't get their way, but a downtown hospital in 21st century healthcare is a necessity that, we're owed. We're owed that through our tax-paying dollars. And I'm excited that, we were able to merge the hospitals. I say it all the time. Merging the hospitals was tougher than the construction.
Right.
I mean, building buildings is easy.
Yeah.
I mean, being able to get everybody on board and merge it was just, I think it was a remarkable thing. The main thing that I don't like, I think, in this whole process is, and it's to expand or echo Mark's sentiment, is bullying. I coach youth hockey kids, and I coach that age group when they're going through puberty, from, 11 to 14 years old. And I deal with these kids, and then we talk about, and we have girls on the team, and we talk about all the proper things to do to help these kids set up to be community leaders. And when you have people, and I went to, in full disclosure, I went to the No Downtown Hospital meetings when they had the author and the architect come in here. And I learned nothing from coming from it, other than they didn't want those types of people in downtown. And I'm like, well, what types of people are you talking about?
Right,
people that need help?
Yeah.
I mean, it seems pretty, wrong to say that.
You mean you think it's going to bring in a low-income element that's going to...
I think it's such a crock, if you want the truth, that you can't talk out of both sides of your mouth.
Right.
Like you said about contradicting themselves on it's going to deplete everything in Utica to all of a sudden, it's going to increase property.
Yeah.
It's same with eminent domain. It's a tricky subject. Nobody likes it. But, when there's a need for the public for something, it happens throughout the whole world, not just the states.
Right.
For the most part, and I just feel like it's the bullying stuff is something that's very tough when you're trying to teach 11 to 14-year-old kids on it to go through the same crap at a higher level.
Yeah. Mark, what do you? From an economic development standpoint, Brett Truitt, it seems, according to his meeting with the Observer-Dispatch editorial board, that he's going to, if he can't stop it one way. He's really going to make it cost more at the end of the day, and he's going to force the hand of MVHS. Well, it would be the municipality, whoever is going to take on this eminent domain. It's going to force it to go to eminent domain. Is that going to hurt the process? Certainly going to slow it down.
I think that every property owner or business owner within that footprint is entitled to get whatever they can get.
Right.
Whatever that might be, to be determined. So I'm okay with that. We've seen the county, Oneida County, we've seen the Community Foundation step forward and commit funding to offer additional compensation. Bravo, I'm okay with all that.
Right.
Yeah. So,
but are you okay with Brett's plan to just buy up in order to send it to eminent domain?
Yeah. I will tell you, when I worked for the city, I spent a number of years out at Griffiths. I worked for the city. I invoked eminent domain to put together the public safety campus, where there's handicap parking and ramps, and there's a campus and all of that. That's his right. That's his legal right. I don't dispute his legal right. Right. His intentions and the methodology, that's a separate issue.
Okay.
Can we go back to the billing for a second? Was it limited to just on Facebook, hey, don't support this guy's business? Or were there, did they try to coerce you? Did they intimidate you face to face?
I've had a fist, waved in my face. I've been threatened. It's unpleasant stuff. It's an urban setting, and so that's part and parcel to dealing with different personalities, But that is kind of, as Rob said, it steps over the line.
Yeah.
It's really, it seems like they don't want to have that public discourse. We should be talking about best practices. We're not the first community to go through this.
You're right.
And we should be talking about new urbanism and walkability. And by the way, walkability doesn't just mean sidewalks, good sidewalks. Walkability means that things like large single-use facilities like a hospital are literally can be walked to.
Right.
That you can get to those places that make a community, that literally make a community, that they're where the people are.
Right.
And so it's just unfortunate is what it is.
On the threats, do you want to call somebody out?
Yeah, Brett and Jim. That's
threatened you.
Yeah. Brett sees, and I don't know. I don't know what's going on there, but it's unusual.
Are they the ones? Brett and Jim are the ones saying that don't frequent your business. Let's put you out of business.
Oh yeah, they took it down.
Yeah.
I didn't think to, but I had a couple other business owners down in the neighborhood who came to me and were like, "You should read this."
Yeah.
Sure enough, and had an exchange with Mr. Brock on social media, and
was that fun? Was that fun?
Look at just because Mr. Truitt's willing to lash himself to a building doesn't make him right. Just because he's playing the role of the bully to quell any disagreement with their perspective doesn't make them right. Doesn't make them more right.
How is your building is right next door to his, right?
Yeah.
How has that relationship been?
I go about my business.
Yeah.
I have things to do. I have things to do, and it's a distraction, and it's unfortunate.
Can I ask you?
Has anyone intimidated you, Rob? I'd like to know right now.
No, but I welcome it.
The first thing he would do is take Jim Brock's suit coat and put it right over his head. Then he'd start.
Speaking of putting your head down, and I got things to do, and I got to get stuff done. That's you. So the Tartan's coming down. Is that where the Nexus Center would go? Or
yeah.
I guess I'm observing right over the weekend the games. It was nice to see everybody parking there. It's a shorter walk. Is there any chance that could be parking and Nexus goes in the back?
No, I know. I don't.
And you said would. The word is will, right?
Yeah,
it's happening.
Yeah, we're definitely moving forward with this. We're excited to be moving forward with it. And a couple things in defense of Jim. Jim is a huge advocate of Nexus, and he's a huge advocate of developing the area. And I feel like he has the ability to be a leader in the community. But to go back and revert back to what Mark's talking about, when you get into bullying and things like this on social media and you don't give people the voice, he begged me to go to the No Down Hospital meeting, and I went. And I think that, there needs to be communication that happens with everybody. I mean, the Community Foundation has done a remarkable job under Alicia Dix's tutelage and leadership, and the board of that Community Foundation should be commended on all the necessary steps they've taken to get their point across. They're part of the community. They push the community forward, and they're doing it right now. To simply attack them, whether it's in publications or whether it's on social media, it was over the line for me. It just was. I mean, Alicia Dix is one of the most special people our area's ever had. And to say that this person's evil and communistic.
They're going after her?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why, for me, it's just enough's enough. You want to have open dialogue. Let's have at it. I know we're not going to agree on everything. And, like I revert back to, again, with, Jim and I have had our share. We've worked together for 6 years on the auditorium.
He's on the odd board.
He's on the odd board.
Yeah.
And yeah, sometimes it's not comfortable, but we always get stuff done. But the maliciousness and the disdain that's taken towards people is stuff that I preach to kids about, not to do. And it's pretty hard when it's happening right in front of our community, and it's slowing us up. Is what it's doing.
The group is interestingly tied politically, and without getting into it, the same comment that came in about Anthony Brindisi the other day. It's all about the hospital. It's all about the comment about his family and the woman that called in. I'm not even going to mention her name. But this type of intimidation, you see it at the meetings when there's a public meeting. And someone gets up and they're talking about the hospital, they're jeered, they're booed, there is an intimidation here that is it's not. It is not setting an example. Certainly not setting an example for our kids.
No, it's not. That's not healthy. Conversation. And the other thing is the No Down Hospital movement or group or whatever you want to call it. It's basically the unsilent minority. They've been able to latch on to some other groups that may not like this one or not like that one. So now the voice seems like it's getting bigger, but it's not. It simply is not. I've been a part of this community my whole life. I enjoy living in it. I enjoy moving it forward to the best of my ability, and I know I misstep a lot in certain spots, but this stuff gets nobody. This is the thing that gives Utica a black eye.
Yeah.
This is the negativity, exactly what epitomizes, the stuff that we fight against.
Yeah, who wants to go to Utica because you have to deal with what stewards for a God-blessed convenience store had to go through to just open up a store in Utica. It's just been crazy.
We've done a generation of self-loathing. This community deserves better.
Yeah,
it really does, and we need to be having a different conversation about our community's future. And it's clear they don't want that conversation to take place. They don't. They attack they attack the messenger.
Yeah.
We see this played out at the national level, and we see the same tactics here locally.
Andrew, you had a comment from Facebook.
So we're on Facebook Live right now, and we have a comment from Scott Truitt. This I think was
is that related to Brett Truitt?
That's Brett's brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
It says, and I'm quoting here.
Yeah.
To bring up the fist in the face had zero to do with hospital. You know that. Be careful.
So, yeah.
What are you going to say to that? Be careful.
Should we report this to the principal? We might have to. Obviously, the heat, things get heated, and
They do.
This is not the way to move this area forward. It really isn't. I mean,
it is. It's that I don't know this guy at all. Obviously, whoever just said that, I don't really even know Brett that well, to be quite truthful. But again, it's what do we got to be careful about here? It's nuts that we're here in the 21st century trying to teach children not to bully, trying to teach that intimidation tactics don't work, but yet adults still want to carry that message forward.
right.
It's like you can't, you just can't move a community forward like this. You just can't.
Right.
You can't.
At the end of the day, in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, from both of you, what is downtown, providing this all moves forward, what is downtown going to look like?
Well, I think for me, I've been a MV 500 a few years ago, something where I really got involved with a couple great people, Hans Arnold in particular, and Alicia Dix, and a lot of other community leaders. And we started developing, this vision of a walkable downtown, and healthcare was part of it, and sports entertainment district was part of it, and development was part of it at Harbor Point. And I think as you look, there is a lot of interest. There's a lot of people that are moving that forward. I mean, I'm not here to talk about a casino and some of those other things, but I am here to talk about something more broader in sports and entertainment. And I think, we have 200,000 people, a little bit more, that come through the Aud each year. Nexus will bring another 350,000. That's over 500,000 people coming right to that centralized area.
Yeah.
The hospital going there will allow businesses to organically pop up. Restaurants, coffee shops, hotels. You're seeing it right now. There's a lot of interest in our area for more hotels.
And by the way, Hotel Utica says their investment played a major role in that was the hospital coming.
Yeah, UFC is renting all their rooms for a whole week. It's crazy. So these things spur. Wow. Yeah, I know. That's